Back now on Newsmax Prime, noting the fact that Jeb Bush has yet to announce that he's officially running for president, but of course he made headlines earlier this week for saying he supported his brother's decision to invade Iraq in 2003. Now the younger Bush has backtracked a bit from those comments, saying, and I quote, "Knowing what we know now, I would not have engaged. I would not have gone into Iraq." For more, let's call on our panel, who joins us now. On the right, Jack Burkman, conservative strategist and host of Behind the Curtain. He's at Newsmax, Washington. And from Boston, the president of Bannon Communications Research, it's our friend Brad Bannon. Now, Brad, I know you kind of sit there and rub your hands together whenever there's a little confusion in the Republican ranks. But in terms of getting out a message, should Jeb Bush have never answered a hypothetical about what he would have done in 2003?
No, he's going to have to answer that question. He would have to answer it sooner or later. What he should have said was it was a big mistake. It destabilized the Mideast, basically opened up Iraq to Iranian influence. I think he was right the first time. And he should have just said, I thought it was a bad idea, and left it at that. His brother is very unpopular nationally. He's going to have to find ways to separate himself from his brother, and this would be a good opportunity.
Jack Burkman, part of the pivot from Jeb Bush was a statement saying, you know, not everything went right, but my brother did get it right on the surge. Iraq was intact, and then Barack Obama started to change the equation. Is that kind of political pivot going to pay dividends for Jeb Bush?
Oh, I don't think so. I really cannot warm up to Jeb Bush, JD. I think the guy doesn't know what he believes in. I think he should have stuck with his guns. He should have said, I believe in the Iraq war. My brother did the right thing. He's already backtracking because he's not a real conservative. You know, he came out in 94, he ran as a conservative. And then in 98, he ran as a left-of-center Republican. And now he wants to be a conservative again. He's a Mitt Romney type guy. We don't need any more Mitt Romneys in the Republican Party, because the scary part is if you elect them, what are they going to be? Who is Jeb Bush? Is he going to be is he going to be left of center Republican? Is he a real conservative? Who knows what he is? I think he should stand behind his brother's decision. I think it was the right thing to do, and I think a conservative would back the war.
Well, let's move on to other candidates, because there are a whole lot of them and questions remain about them all. For example, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. He went out, made a great speech in Iowa, caught fire, but there's a new public policy polling report that shows that his numbers and his support have cooled somewhat. In fact, his support has gone down 7 percentage points since February. What can we attribute this decline to? And granted, it's early, but Jack, I'll let you have the first crack at this.
It's hard to know. There's so many candidates in the race right now. It's a very strange race, JD. I don't ever remember a time since our party was founded in 1860 where we have so many competitors. I'll make a prediction. You could wind up with 25 people in this race. You know, once you cross a certain threshold, who knows what will happen. I think it's really just every time there's an announcement. There was Huckabee, there was Rubio, people are talking about Santorum. It's just hard for somebody to hold their position who announced 3 months ago. I don't really think anything's wrong with Walker. I think he's a good, strong conservative. At this point, I think he is as strong for the nomination as anybody.
And yet, as we take a look at some of the numbers, even though Walker's numbers are down, according to this same polling group, Scott Walker still leads the field, albeit barely, over all GOP candidates. Well, actually a 5 percentage point lead over Marco Rubio. Again, I know you're looking on with more curiosity, Brad, than involvement on the Republican side. When are there too many candidates for the GOP, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's too early to make a judgment. My guess is a lot of these candidates are going to, drift by the wayside as the year goes on, and probably especially you see a big shakeout after the Iowa caucuses. So I don't think that's a problem yet. It will be a problem if this is still what the field looks like next March, but it's not a problem now. Some of these candidates will just disappear because they don't register in Iowa or they don't raise enough money to keep going.
All right, we got about a minute left. I want to get you both very quickly here. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, that trade deal, we thought the Democrats were going to filibuster it. Apparently a deal has been put together. Brad, Is this a good thing, seeing a deal and this bill coming to the floor? 15 seconds.
Well, I'm against the Trans-Pacific Partnership. If you live in a small factory town somewhere in the Midwest, your jobs are going to disappear if this thing is approved. So I think it's a bad mistake. It's going to lower American wages.
Gotcha. You're against it, and I
it's a
understand
good-
that. Let's go to Jack for 15 seconds. What about the trade deal?
Oh, it's a very good thing. It's a very good thing, JD. Every time we do fast-track trade, every time we grow trade, we enrich this country. There's not much debate about it. I'll tell you something. Watch for Mike Huckabee, though. As a populist, this gives him a great issue. This favors him, gives him an issue.
We will keep that in mind, gentlemen, and I actually agree with Brad. I think this trade deal is bad because it opens the doors and further muddies our immigration law. At any rate, gentlemen, we thank you for your time. There's more to come, so stay with us here on Prime.